Something we all need. I mean, I know all major corporations recognize that is what leads them into this new millennium, which is now the hot word, and global economy and everything. But again, too often they lose the foresight to recognize that everyone has something to bring to the table.
I agree with you on that. And I think for many large corporations and organizations, until very recently, there hasn't been the sensitivity to tapping the best that they had within their workplace. And I'll tell you really the thing that two things have heightened that sensitivity. One, the changing demographics of America. We're graying, we're living longer. People think about the changing of demographics just in terms of race and gender, but it's so much more than that. And one of the most powerful demographics is really economic. More women are working, therefore they have more economic power, and more people of color are in the workplace, and that translates into dollars. And so companies want to be able to market their goods and services to those diverse markets, and quickly they began to realize that in order to do that successfully, they had to understand who those people were, and to have employees who understood that and could take their message. So I see it starting to change, but not change quickly enough. To really deal with diversity, we have to deal with organizational transformation. And so many companies have diversity, quote unquote, training. And training might affect how we do things for a short period of time, but for most organizations, they have to completely transform the way in which they do business if they're really going to fully tap all the skills and experiences that everyone brings to the table. And that's a long-term commitment. When you look at the companies who are doing well, in whatever marketplace, including the world, those are the companies who have gone through that transformational process. And it goes beyond just the good talk about diversity is good for business and valuing diversity. It means that we are willing to change everything about who we are in order to become the best company or organization that we can become. And that takes time, Carol.
That's right. When you said that, I immediately thought of Bill Gates and Microsoft. How he is recognizing that computers need to be in the cities.
That's right.
And so he is making that commitment. And it comes from the top down.
It absolutely must come from your board. If there's a board of directors, your board of directors or your key decision makers in an organization. And we talk with clients across the United States, and one of the things that I find interesting, which really does mirror how deep and complex the issue is, particularly of race, the issue of race. I was going to say the issue of difference, but I'll go ahead and label it the issue of race is for most people. People are oftentimes dumbfounded as to what they do in terms of how they manage diversity. And I say to them, you approach this the same way that you approach any other business initiative. You do your research, you look at your competitors, and you make the commitment to do it. But that's the step that is so difficult to truly make that commitment for many organizations.
Why?
It means changing so much about who we are, Carol. It means giving up our stereotypes. It means accepting people in roles of responsibilities that we historically have not had prototypes for. I'm so delighted now. Franklin Raines, the first African-American CEO of a Fortune 500 company. So those models are beginning to change, albeit we can still count them on one hand. It's starting to change.
And Dr. Hope Franklin, who is the chairman of the President's Race Relations, told the story of how racism is ingrained.
It is from the time really that small children enter into the world. There are subtle and not so subtle messages of differences and value associated with the differences, that some things are better and some things are less than. And so when we grow up in an environment like that, I always tell people we don't leave 18 or 21 years of living at the front door when we enter the workplace. We bring all those experiences, both positive and negative, with us to the workplace. And so it's no wonder that it takes a long time to deal with them, but it can be done. It has to come from the top, and it has to be an organization will to get it done.
And then we as people of color, with similar goals and aspirations as our white counterparts who want to succeed, nobody wakes up and says, I'm going to fail today.
That's right. That's not something that most people get up and have as a goal or an objective. Or to be incompetent or inept.
That's right. That we all want to be team players.
That's right.
And I love what my husband says. Difference does not mean wrong.
That's right. That's right.
And it's changing that mindset.
And understanding that actually different could be better in a certain circumstance.
Exactly. So, and that's what this
This is what this class is all about. Helping people be the best professionals that they can be.
Equipping us with how to deal with this.
That's
I
right.
think.
Dealing with the things that may come your way, and I will probably come your way across the course of a career, being able to deal with those things in a way that you're not demoralized, in a way that does not detract you from your professional goals and objectives, that keeps you going towards whatever objectives you set for yourself personally and professionally, and also those things that enable you to have a full life, not only in the workplace, because this is so important for African Americans and all folks. We have to have balance in our workplace lives and in our community lives.
Now I'm going to put you on the spot and say I can't answer it because I had a lawyer on, so while I couldn't really talk about what's happening with President Monica Lewinsky because she's not a lawyer and really didn't know all the facts. Having said that, this wonderful woman who sued Texaco.
Yes.
I forget her name, and she has a great book. She said that she thought she was doing all the right things. Assimilating, that's not her word, but doing all the right things to get ahead in that company, and nothing helped. She was still labeled that, black girl and, all those things.
Right, right.
Here was someone that thought she was doing the right thing. How do we, what happened? I mean, what can we do if she clearly knew she wasn't doing, she had an MBA, did all the right things?
It's a dual understanding. One is the expectation that the American dream does apply to all of us, and that we have a right, and perhaps I would say an obligation, to pursue the American dream. And by that I mean to be able to be the best person that you can be, to make a contribution to your organization and your community. We have a right to do that. And as part of that right, we have a responsibility to be equipped to do that. So that's one part of it.
Very good.
The other part of it is that, again, people come from all walks of life. And even though we have a right to pursue that American dream, not all people share that view. So I tell young people, I tell women, I tell African Americans that a certain part of your psyche, a certain part of your armament, your preparedness has to be real world strategies for dealing with those isms that you might face.
Ow!
Classism, racism, genderism, so on and so forth. That is a reality that we probably will face.
Okay, I hope everybody has taped this show so they can rewind that and play it again.
That's just part of being successful.
Yes.
Having those strategies at hand.
Oh, I love that.
Having those strategies at hand. And hopefully we'll live in a time when you don't have to pull out that armament. But right now, that is not the reality that so many people face. And so you have to be able to deal with it.
What's coming up?
We have some exciting things coming up. I keep saying that this program is more than just Louisville. We're going on a field trip to Memphis, Tennessee, June 18th, and we're returning on the evening of June 20th, and we're inviting members of the community to join us on the field trip. And the objective of the field trip is to go to Memphis and to talk with African American professionals, business owners, politicians, and educators to find out what good things are going on in the city of Memphis, things that may be replicated back here in Louisville. We want to increase people's networking opportunities, and also really to look at best practices and to exchange some of the great things that we have going on here in Louisville. So
similar to what the chamber here in the Louisville
Yes, the Urban Workshop, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so really looking for best practices and that exchange of ideas and creativity and networking. And on June 26th, we have a diversity leadership symposium that's coming up, and I want everyone in the community to mark this on their calendars. It's going to be a great experience. We're calling it Assuming the Mantle of Leadership.
Oh.
And it's going to be from 1 until 4 o'clock in the lectorium in the Egan Leadership Center at Spalding. And we're bringing in 3 wonderful, wonderful speakers to talk about assuming the mantle of leadership. And Rochelle Rowley, our local columnist, is going to be the moderator that day. Merlene Davis, who's a columnist, African-American columnist for the Lexington Herald, is going to come in and have a discussion and dialogue about African Americans in the media. We have the world-renowned psychologist, Dr. Joyce Hamilton Berry out of Washington, D.C., who's going to come in and talk about some of the things that you've suggested. How do you stay sane when you're dealing with all these issues and pressures and managing success? And Mr. Quentin Lawson is going to be here to talk about African-American leadership from a national perspective. He's the executive director of the National Alliance of Black School Educators. He was formerly the executive director of the Congressional Black Caucus and the National Forum for Black Public Administrators.
It sounds like the public school systems that see this show need to have some of their administrators
Absolutely.
there as well.
I think that the topics are such that everyone in our community can benefit. Seating is limited, so we're asking people just to give us a call and let us know if they plan to attend. But it is free and open to the public.
We will make sure we have those phone numbers up at the end. June 26th.
June 26th at Spalding.
And then Memphis is June
18th.
18th. That is fabulous.
We're really excited about it.
It's the fact that there's only 3 in the country, you said.
We're similar to this, yes, in the country. And we believe that ours is even more unique than the other two because of the intensive assessment experience and the exchange program going to Memphis. So we think that ours is perhaps the most special one in the United States.
Because when you said about the corporations really having to make that transformation, you have to look at what you are as a corporation.
That's right.
And that still has to apply individualistically too, or individually. And that is, in order for me to truly make greater change, I have to look.
I have to change as an individual.
That's right.
I have to change as an individual.
Has to be tough.
It's tough, but it's possible. It is possible.
Look at some of them things I don't want to say.
But it is possible.
Yes, and
it's possible.
And then again, it's just a decision away.
You're absolutely right. I also need to tell you, Carol, that on June 27th, that's our culminating activity. Cheryl Martin, who is the anchor for Black Entertainment Television, is going to be our graduation speaker, graduation for the leadership program, and that's going to take place at Masterson's on the 27th at 11:30. And once again, we hope members of the community will come and hear her address.
Great, and we will be there to congratulate the first class from this Leadership Institute. How long is the course?
It's a semester-long program. We meet once a week. This semester we're meeting on Tuesday nights from 5 until 9 o'clock. That may change, but we will be offering the course in the fall.
Okay, fabulous. That is great. Well, I'm going to talk to you when we end this tape, because what got me excited, you know, learning is lifelong.
That's right.
And if we aspire to be certain things, then we need to constantly look at where we need to improve ourselves. And I like the fact that we can go in a place where we're not dealing from a negative or reactionary space, what we deal with in the workplace. Because some of us have the luxury of enjoying our jobs.
That's right.
But even enjoying our jobs, there are still those, I like that word, isms you said, that we have to do. And how do we deal with it?
And this course helps you deal with that.
Yeah.
It really does. And you bring up a good point. We're very blessed if we can find work in this life that we love doing. That's really a wonderful, wonderful blessing. Even if you're not loving the work that you do, you can do it in a way that helps you feel better as a person, that lets you know that you're doing things not only for yourself, but your family and your entire community, because you're really, really bringing all the skills and strengths and talents that you have to play in the workplace. And that's what we seek to do in this program.
Oh, and I think we don't need to say anything else.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Karen Beard, for coming on. And you're phenomenal, a phenomenal woman. I'm glad you were able to take time out of your schedule to come to our set to talk about what you're doing. Again, we will have the phone numbers and the dates and the information you will need to take part in this great, unique, and fabulous institute and programs. And make sure that you come out and support this wonderful class who's going to begin to lead the way. They are the pioneers. And I want to thank you for watching Images of Women. And we'll see you again. Have a great day.